Hi, I'm Louis Teague, and this is Trailers from Hell. I'm going to talk today primarily about The Big Red One, which is a film that I worked on, but also about Sam Fuller's Steel Helmet, because both those films are kind of tied together in my history as a filmmaker. I first saw Steel Helmet in 1951 at the Music Hall Theater in Tarrytown, New York, when I was 13 years old. And I was blown away by the film, not just because it was a war film, which was my favorite genre, but also because it dealt with topics that I hadn't seen on film before, like racism. And also, I particularly noticed the low budget quality of the film. The film, by the way, was produced by Robert Lippert, who was like Roger Corman before there was a Roger Corman in this town. And the low quality of the sets, I could see all the cracks in the walls. I thought, for the first time in my life, that's something I could do. And that inspired me to become a filmmaker. Fast forward 28 years to 1979, and I got a call from Gene Corman, Roger Corman's brother, asking if I'd like to direct second unit on a Sam Fuller film. Well, being a big fan of Sam's, of course, he said yes. And the next day, I was on a plane to Israel, where they were shooting, and made my way to the Sharon Hotel in Herzliya. Now, it was Saturday, Shabbat in Israel. The production office was closed. Nobody was around. So I asked the concierge, where can I find Mr. Fuller? Oh, he's out by the pool. Sure enough, Sam was outside, waxing enthusiastic to a rapt audience of young actors. I waited for a pause and approached him with my hand extended. Mr. Fuller, I'm so pleased to meet you. I'm your second unit director, Louis Teague. Talk about long pauses. He looked at me for several seconds, ignoring my hand, and said, I don't have a second unit director. I don't need a second unit director. Never have and never will. And he turned away. I was astonished. Nobody had told him I was coming. Later, Gene Corman explained that during a pre-production shoot in Mammoth, Sam had shot long master shots that didn't work. Something would go wrong in the middle, but he'd print them anyway, and there was nothing to cut away to. Gene wanted me to watch Sam work, look at the dailies, and then shoot cutaways in case they were needed. So every day, I'd watch Sam work, watch the dailies, and then shoot cutaways. I knew Sam wouldn't have to use them unless they were useful. For those of you who don't know the story, Sam's first cut was 6 hours long. His final cut was 4.5 hours. So the studio took the film away, butchered it, and released a 1 hour, 53-minute film. 20 years later, the film historian Richard Schickel found all the outtakes of Big Red One in a vault in Kansas City and cut together what they call the restoration version, a version that he thinks more closely resembles the film that Sam might have envisioned. Now, the key word there is closely. I don't know if Sam would agree. He might like it better than the 1 hour, 53-minute version that Lorimar released, but I personally have come to the conclusion that Sam's 4.5 hour version, which most of us have never seen, was probably the most authentic, even with all the shots that didn't quite work, because that was Sam's style. His filmmaking chops may not have been as sophisticated as many others, but it was honest. All the flimsy sets, missing backing, the claustrophobic shots, that's part of Sam's aesthetic. Now, every film requires suspension of disbelief. Sam's just demand that you do it earlier and unconditionally so that he can get on with his story, his meditation on war, sanity, and killing. So as creaky as the film may be, it's filled with unforgettable scenes and images. Crazed horses attacking a giant cross in a burned-out battlefield. A girl giving birth in the bowels of a battle tank. Unforgettable.